Swamp Thing number 25, written by Charles Soule, art by Jesus Saiz. So last time was the annual where Swamp Thing was learning what he needs to in order to fight against Cedar. And this issue is just the fight. It's pretty short because of that. So we see he's talking to Wolf, the guy who's basically his patron, saying like, okay, here are the rules. You've got an arena. It's going to be very clear what the boundaries are. If you leave the arena, you are out. Like you run away, you're out. If you can't take anything in with you to fight, but you can use whatever's around or something like that. I don't know. And then your opponent is able to attack first because we need to make this balanced because he doesn't have full avatar status. So you're not allowed to take anything, but then he can take in some stuff, I guess. I don't know. It's a bit confusing because he says none of you are allowed to take in anything, but then Cedar definitely does. So regardless, he's brought into this big, like, trunk. Basically, it looks like this massive tree trunk that's been generated where the inside is hollowed out. And both him and Cedar come in, and Alex basically psyching himself up and he'd be like, all right, you are not human anymore. You need to accept that. You are just plant. That's cool. You were lied to, and you may lose everything if you are no longer the Swamp Thing, but that's why you got to fight. So here we go. And so Cedar takes off his hood and shows that, like, half of his face has been replaced by plants now. And Swamp Thing's just like, was it supposed to intimidate me? So he just turns into essentially like a Demogorgon from Stranger Things. He's just like, boo. And then all of a sudden the fight starts. Cedar throws out some seeds onto the ground. Before they even hit the ground, Swamp Thing has generated like 10 more copies of himself. And he's like, all right, this is already over. I've got 10 bodies, you got one. I'm going to smack you down. And then the seeds hit the ground, and these swirling tentacle-looking things come out of them. They hold down the other Swamp Thing's bodies, and the ground is essentially poisoned. So it kills all of them. And Swamp Thing's like, all right, well, I still got one of me. You're out of seeds. I'm going to just punch you in the face a bunch. So he picks up Cedar, and as he does so, Cedar spits into his face. It causes one of those tentacle things to grow out of Swamp Thing's eyes. And he's like, all right, well, you know what? This is just a body. I can transfer into another one. But he's poisoned all the ground in the arena, and I can't leave the arena. Crap, I don't have a way out of this. So Cedar impales him with his staff and then opens up one of his portals. We see that the staff is actually a previous avatar where he's like, hey, sorry about this. I don't want to be doing this, but I don't really have a choice in the matter. He's making me do this. So the staff unravels and like crawls away, still impaled inside of Alec, and just drags him through the portal, kicking and screaming. And the last little thing is Cedar kicks him through, closes the portal behind him, and we see Swamp Thing is on the moon. And he's like, okay, let's analyze the situation. There's no green up here. The water in my cells are currently boiling. I just have to be back down there. I have to jump into a new body or I die. Just got to do that. Come on. And we see the husk of his body left on the moon, and Jason is celebrating down on Earth. And he's like, hey, I did it. I beat the Avatar. Now, make me the new Avatar. And the plant side of his head starts growing, and he's like, yes, thank you. You're making the right decision, Parliament. But then it keeps growing, and he's like, wait a minute, hold on. What are you doing? I won. What's going on? And we see that the plant growing out of his head now is actually Swamp Thing. And he's like, oh, you didn't win. I'm still here, bitch. So he's got Jason's head underneath his foot, and he's like about to crush it. And the Parliament's like, yeah, okay. Yeah, clearly Jason's out of usable options here. Alec, you win. Kill him. He's like, what? I don't want to kill him. Why would I kill him? That's not cool. And he's like, nah, he knows too much about the green. If he's left alive, he could be an enemy. You got to kill him. Look, if you're not up for it, just, take a back seat. Let the Parliament take over. We'll kill him for you. We're going to use your body, though. But, yeah, you have to do that in order to be our champion. And he flashes back to the other Swamp Thing that he got advice from in the annual. And it basically says, if they want you to do something that you don't want to do, you can just say no. And so Swamp Thing reaches down, rips off his own leg, and says, no, I ain't going to kill him. And so then he falls over into the floor, and he immediately starts losing his energy. And the Parliament's like, well, thanks for being an avatar. We will show you to the Parliament room. You're now welcomed into the green forever. That's cool. But yeah, you're no longer the avatar. Bye. And he just completely gets absorbed into the green. And we see the final page is Jason Woodrue has been transformed into the new avatar. And they welcome him and say, may your reign be fruitful. So, yeah, I mean, yeah, it's conflict. It'll give you something. I like it. I really do. Like I said, it's a short issue because a lot of it's just fight scene. It just goes through it very quickly. But giving Jason the power and making it so now it's kind of mirroring what's going on over in Animal Man a lot of ways of how there's different avatars over there as well. I think this is just solid. It's just, yeah, no, you send your hero down to his lowest point, and how does he manage to crawl his way out? How does he manage to get back up to it? And clearly he'll get there. I doubt this book will just be now the continuing adventures of Jason Woodrue, but I'm curious to see how long it takes and what kind of concessions he's going to have to make in order to get it back. So, all in all, I'd probably give this one 7.5. It's close to that 8. It's very, very on the edge, but I think that while it does have one or two very clever moments during this fight of, him jumping back to the body where it's Jason's face, I enjoy that. It's just like only those one or two moments. It doesn't have enough to stretch over the whole issue. And to the point where Swamp Thing had to rip off his own leg, that kind of came out of nowhere, but I get the symbolism of it, so 7.5 seems right to me.